Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton, they're going to be infamous names in Tampa Bay forever. Hopefully you don't name your kids those names because they're going to forever be remembered infamously in Tampa Bay. But if you're thinking about buying a home in 2025, I want to talk to you today about what you need to look for to make sure that you don't buy a home that was improperly repaired from flood damage. The very first thing that you need to look at is the property disclosures. You need to know what the seller is disclosing. But I want you to understand to take those with a grain of salt because as I've learned through 3 billion career sales and thousands of transactions that sellers do sometimes lie. So take them with a grain of salt. You want an inspector to look for evidence of flood damage. This becomes really important if areas are coastal, if you know that other properties around it got flooded. Do an MLS search, have your agent look and do an MLS search and see if other homes in the neighborhood happened to be flooded. Whether or not a home was, is, or flood zone or not doesn't matter, okay? Plenty of homes got flooded that weren't in flood zone, so don't assume that the house didn't get flooded. The things that you want to look for in terms of potential flood damage would be mold. You want to make sure the drywall work was done properly. You want to look for signs of water damage to wood flooring. But more importantly, you want to hire an inspector and make it very clear to them to be very proactive to look for any damage relative to the storms that's left over and hasn't been addressed. There are way too many people skimping. There are way too many people buying flood damaged homes that don't know what they're going to get into. If you think about buying a flood damaged home, the other thing that you need to understand is that there's a rule from FEMA that says, and the cities and counties are pretty strongly enforcing this, that if a structure was damaged for more than 50% of the structure's value, you're gonna have a hard time getting permits to rebuild and remediate that home. Not the whole property's value, the structure's value. And there are countless hundreds, if not thousands of consumers right now fighting with that today because the valuations of the property and then the repairs that are needed exceed what FEMA will approve. FEMA will make the property be raised at that point. So you want to make sure that if you're buying a flood damaged home, that the work can be done under 50% of the total structure value. So hopefully those are some tips to help you buy a home in 2025. Hopefully we don't ever have a hurricane again, but you want to make sure to look for those things. Make sure to follow us for more information at The Duncan Duo on all social media outlets.